continue. Yesterday we started with a little bit of a hakdama, an introduction into the inyanim of basar v'chalav, where it comes from, why it's also a little bit. And we started one of the three isurim, which was the isur of bishul. And just to make this clear, I'm not answering every shaila, and I'm getting a few emails from people. What about that question? What about that question? You didn't answer. It's impossible. I want to give the questions over. I just want to give you, it's a crash course, which means we're going to crash in as much as we possibly can to try and get a little bit of clarity. And like I said, you may not have all the answers, but you'll have a lot of questions, which is also good, because at least you know what's a shaila, okay? Now, so yesterday we discussed the inyan of bishul, right? We said derech bishul asr Torah, which means the Torah asr the normal way of cooking. Something that's not the normal way of cooking is not asr. Now, that is bishul. Let's talk about achila. That's a pretty simple one. It is asr to eat basar b'chalav, but only basar b'chalav that was cooked together will be asr daraisa to eat together. So, for example, if you take a cold piece of salami and a cold piece of cheese and eat them together, is that an issa d'oraisa? No. Why not? Because it wasn't cooked together. It has to be cooked together for it to be a d'oraisa. And of course, it's obviously also the rabbanon, but the idea was a d'oraisa. And again, the idea came from yesterday's shir, which we started, which was the Gemara, which is Paschal and Shulchan Aruch and Yodei Sefer Beis Zayin Sifavet, which is the reason why the Torah wrote Lo Yisrael Ashkali B'Chalav V'Moi 3 times to teach us three isurim: Issa Achila, Issa Bishul, and Issa Hana. Let's move on. Number 3, Issa Hana. Now, the Issa Hana means that it is absolutely forbidden to have any benefit from basar v'chalav that was cooked in a d'oraisa way, which means, again, only basar v'chalav that is a din d'oraisa will be subject to the Issa Hana. If it was not an Issa d'oraisa, maybe an Issa d'Rabbanon, so it was also to do, but Hana will be mutter. Okay? Let me give you some classic examples to make this clear. The difference between meat and chicken. Meat is d'oraisa. So if you take meat and milk or meat and cheese, cook them together, that is a d'oraisa. Asr b'hana, you can't go and give it to anybody. Whereas, if you have a chicken soup, let's just make it a little bit real. You have a chicken soup and you stick in a ladle that was used for the lasagna this morning. So that's basar b'chalav, we're stuck. What do? I can't eat this anymore. Let's leave out the shaila of yes shishim, no shishim. Let's talk about that it's asr. It's mutter b'hana. Why is it mutter b'hana? Because chicken is a d'rabbanon. Chicken and cheese is a d'rabbanon. According to one sheet in the Gemara, it's actually mutter, but we don't pass in that way. But according it's a d'rabbanon, which means it's mutter to have hana. You're not allowed to do it, but it is mutter to have hana. Okay, let's move on to another thing. Another idea. Bishul is asr, because that's the way of doing it. But for example, if it would be kovush, if it would be pickling or marinating, that would be a d'rabbanon type of bishul. The Gemara calls it, right, kovush k'mavushal. That when you marinate something, it's like cooking it. It's not mavish cooking it, it's like cooking it. Which means it's a din d'rabbanon, again, which would mean that it will be a d'rabbanon, which would mean that it's mutter b'hana. So for example, again, just to make this clear, give an example. If you open up your fridge one day, and you got a piece of salami sitting immersed in a cup of milk. It was on the one shelf, and it fell into the other shelf. There was a bowl of milk prepared for today's scrambled eggs, whatever, and it was sitting there for a full 24 hours. So obviously you can't eat the milk and you can't eat the meat, but it'll be mutter b'hana, even if it was meat, because it was kovush, it was pickled, it wasn't cooked. Now that might be an issa d'rabbanan to do, but that will be okay. Now this is going to be hana. Let's move on to Rabbi Yisai. What are you meant to do with something that's basar v'chalav? It's very again. I remember a bacha once calling me up from his tira. He says, Rebbe, this is a big problem. I made myself the most gorgeous egg. This is unbelievable. What an egg you never saw. The vegetables I cut up and the mushrooms, and it started to get very, you get hungry when you hear like the whole thing, and everything was gavaldic, everything was amazing, and then he put cheese sprinkled on the top and it was melting, and then he realized, this pan was used to fry schnitzel last night. Boom! So 1 second, schnitzel's a d'rabbanan. You're allowed to have hana. Obviously you can't eat it, right? But question is whether or not he's allowed to give it to the cleaner. The answer is that it will be mutter. The olim are probably asking, what's with leisechonim? Huh? Hello? Anybody out there? The camera has to see that there are people in the room. Rabbi Yisai, too early in the morning. What's pshat? What's leisechonim? You're allowed to give presents to a guy. What, you're giving him a nice scrambled egg? He's going to be forever indebted to you. Is that mutter? It happens to be Mordi a posuk in the Torah. But what?
If you're good, you're allowed to do it.
If you're good?
You're benefiting from giving it.
Why are you benefiting?
When you nice to him, he's going to help you.
Says Dovi Gavaldik. If you're going to benefit, then it's mutter. Which is, by the way, the whole heter to give, 25th of December presents to goyim that work in your company, which is a big shaila. If you're allowed to do that, Moshe has a whole tshuva, by the way, about that, about going on vacation during that time. Not for now. Remind me before that, we have to go through that. So Lo Suchanim would not reply if you're getting hanot. Very, very good. Excellent. Yes, sir. Nothing. Okay. Thought you were $100. I thought you were, okay. You're one of those guys, No, I didn't vote. Anyway, let's move on to Rabbi side. The guy calls me up one time. He says he wants to go to a chef school. He wants to become a chef. We'll give him a job in yeshiva. He wants to become a chef. Is he allowed to go to a non-kosher chef school? What? If you want to get a shout out, we can talk about the Sefer Torah, but not for now. No, if a chef school, Rabbi say, he wants to go to a non-kosher chef school, is he allowed or not? What does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. No. That means no. Why not? What's the issa? I'm not eating anything.
You're getting enough.
Oh, very good. If they're cooking basa v'cholov over there, they're getting enough. I'll tell you a Mordecai Maisa. I got a phone call from a guy in Tel Aviv. He calls me up. He says, I got big shaila. He says, on the menu, he worked in a restaurant that I guess wasn't so religious. And today's special, when you go to a restaurant, they never have what you want, but they'll have the special. Right? That's how it goes, yeah? So today's special was what? Basar para muvushal b'chalav shem yirachim. So he wants to know, am I allowed to be a waiter? Am I allowed to serve this? I'm getting hanor. The guy that goes to McDonald's, right? Before you go to McDonald's, they give you like a crash course in how to exactly put the cheese on. It's like a whole mahalach. Is that called having hanor? So it could be a lot of the time. So I always say, if we want to work in KFC, that would be much more makel. Because KFC is chicken. Chicken says Rabboni, you're allowed to have hanor. You want to go work in McDonald's, you're dealing with meat. The problem is the meat is in a vela, right? They shoot the animal, they don't shecht it. So it's a shayla whether or not the Basar Cholav applies for an Avela. Rabbi, I told you we're not going to go through all the answers right now. For all the answers, you have to get this book, Amazon.com. Anyway, let's move on. Where are we? So that's Hana, okay? Another example. Ooh, smelling. Are you allowed to smell Basar Cholav? You walk past a non-kosher restaurant, give a shmek. Zag, get a shmek. Shmek. You're allowed to have Hana? Is that called Hana? The guy by Pesach, we discussed the shayla. Remember discussed the shayla by Pesach? I told you the story, I was working with the mishpacha down the old city, that was years ago, down to the Kaisel. And you pass these Arab stores, the bakeries where they make these, I don't know what they're called, they've just got some name, these big, long, what are they called? Not lafas, no. These like huge bagels. You know what I'm talking about? They had them on sticks there, they're giving them out, the Arabs make these things. So anyway, we're walking past, and you can smell it. You can't do anything about it, you can smell it. So one of the Arabs takes it out, fresh out the oven, and no, give a smell! In Hebrew, obviously. My kids turn around and say to him, Chometz, goy, gavaldik, moedik. Are you allowed to smell? Basar v'cholav. That's the shayla. That is the shayla. It's the pritoya, or Chaim HaKadosh. Tain is that you should be machmeh and not smell it badafka, but there are many who are makel in that case over there. Let's move on, Rabbi side. There's so much to do. So much going. I'll give you another example. A guy calls me up. This was last Shemitah cycle, right? Almost 7 years ago. Almost. He tells me that he was left with his roommates to deal with the dog that they have in their dira, in their apartment. And he says, I'm worried about the dog food having, shmita stuff, and whatever it is that you're allowed to get hanor, because it's a shayla by shmita, which we'll talk about, Beis Hashem, nearer to Edel. And I said to him, hold on a second, you've got to be another careful, because there are sometimes basar v'cholav in there. By the way, the Shach in the beginning of Peizayin discusses the shayla about shampoo that used to be made, which someone a tiny, even Mizman is there, I've never found the shampoo that is, but they used to say that many shampoos have basar v'cholav inside it, and when you use it on your hair, you're getting hanor from it. You're not allowed to get hanor from basar v'cholav. So again, we're not going to go into all the details at this moment of time, but that would be, very important. Are you allowed to feed basar v'cholav to animals? This is the shayla. I've gone to the zoo. Right? I don't know if any of you have been to the zoo. It's a beautiful zoo. The biblical zoo there is beautiful. You should go. It's gavaldik, right? Maybe we should take the guys once. It's gavaldik. The shayla is like this. Are you allowed to give basar v'cholav to the monkeys? You have some basar v'cholav. I don't know, you made some cheese omelette, whatever it was. It went in a fleischik, ben yoimai, pan, bang, basar v'cholav. I want to give it to the animals. Mutter also. Are you getting gain from it? So, Lemaisa, the Taz paskins like this. The Taz in Sari Dalit wants to say that that's not really called hanor. Right? Now, there's a big problem with that. I'll tell you the big problem is. What does it say by the monkeys? Don't feed the monkeys. As I state, don't feed the monkeys. What does every child want to do? They want to feed the monkeys. It's geschmack. It's geschmack to feed the monkeys. I once asked, I was by in Haranoff and I was walking home with Moshe Sternbach Shlita, and I asked them the following shayla. I said, could you put basar v'cholav in the garbage can? They looked at me like, huh? Why not? I said, because in this country there are cats. It's the English fault. There are cats over here. And when you put it in there, the cats are going to be eating it and enjoying it. You're not allowed to feed stray animals. According to most poskim, you're not allowed to feed stray animals. So that's the case. You know what he did? I'll tell you, Meister Shai, this true story. He took me, he shoved me away. He says, I wish you better hanos than that in the world. Right? It's not really called the hano, please. Come on, that's not called that. That's called the hano. Not called the hano. Okay. Everybody said there's so much to do over here. We've only got to like one little prat. Just mentioning, by the way, the cover shaila, the pickling shaila. So anything that's frozen, it's a prima godim, anything that's frozen is not going to be included in kovesh, which would mean, theoretically, if you take ice cream, or you make ice cream, and you shove it in the freezer, and then you take it out the freezer, and you realize, oh no, I put it in a fleshik, container, that will not be a problem. Because it has to sit in liquid for 24 hours. Now, okay, Rabbi, so we're going a little bit off topic. I mean, we're not, it's all on topic, but we can spend hours and hours and hours on this, but we're not going to do so. What I want to do is as follows. What I want to do is, I told you, after we end the Hakdama, which we just did, I want to go through and start today just a little bit of some of the shailas that are Nageya to many of us, and we'll start with the Daraisas and we'll get to the Drabonos, the Siyata Deshmaya. Okay? Now, let me just get the right papers up here to make sure that we know where we are and what we're doing over here, just to make sure that we're in order. Okay, so let's start with a very, very important yisoid, and that is called Tam Ke'ika. Okay, Tam Ke'ika is a machlokes rishonim. What does Tam Ke'ika mean? Tam Ke'ika means like this. If you take milk and you cook it in a meaty, fleshik pan, what is the din of the milk? Leiby, what's the din of the milk? What's that? You give it to a goy to taste. Okay, I don't have a goy. Let's leave out all the heterim or what it is. Pashtus, what's the din? Yes. The pot was used in the last 24 hours. What's the halacha of the milk? Quick, 1, 2, 3. Your wife asks you the shayla. What are you going to do? It's asa d'oraisa. Why is it asa d'oraisa? There's no meat over there. There's no meat. So, a brand new pan. Last night I made meat soup. I cleaned it out, mamish, like there's not, it's sparkling clean. Right now, milk, within 24 hours, right? Asa d'oraisa. Why is it asa d'oraisa? Where's the meat? Oh, the meat's in the pan. That's called bishul? That's a machlokes rishonim. Tam Ke'ika d'oraisa or not d'oraisa? Machlokes rishonim. Right, Rabbeinu Tam and Rashi, famously, which we're not going to go into the sugya. A kaponim, we paskin halacha l'maisa. You're there? The beginning of Simon, Tzadiches. Very clear. Tam Ke'ika d'oraisa. First question I got on my smicha exam. Tam Ke'ika d'oraisa to Rabbanon. We pass it to d'oraisa, which means, like you said, when you cook milk in a ben yoimei, which means it was used in the last 24 hours, fleshik pan, bang, that's it, it's a d'oraisa. Okay? If it was an eino ben yoimei, like you said, depends if it was used in 24 hours or not. If it was not used in the last 24 hours, that's what we call an eino ben yoimei. What does that mean? That means the taste that has been absorbed in the pot is what we call pogum. Stale, disgusting, nullified, goes away. Doesn't mean I'm allowed to cook in there. Maybe d'oraisa I'm allowed, but with Rabban you're not allowed to cook. Maybe d'oraisa, theoretically you'd be allowed to cook in it. You'd have to have one set of pans in your house. You don't have to have fleshiks and milk pans. D'oraisa, just have to have one. Just wait 24 hours between one and the other. Midrabbanon, obviously you're not allowed to do that, and that's obviously, right? That we don't have one pan. But upon him, that's the difference. So the first thing you have to know is like this: ben yoimei or ain't ben yoimei. It was used in the last 24 hours. I have to tell you, when people call up with shailas, sometimes it takes a good 5 minutes to extract them. What is the shaila? You have to know how to ask a shaila. You have to know when you call up a rov, what are you asking? Tell them all the details. I used a fleshik ben yoimei ladle, whatever it is. Give all the details because it's very, very important to know that. Okay? That's clear. That's number one, Rabbi Yisai. Let's move on to number two. Nat bar nat. What does that mean? What does it stand for? Beautiful. Which yeshiva has Azab Bochim are fluent in Yeridea? I don't know. I don't know any other yeshiva. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? You guys are Zoicha. I wish I would have been Zoicha when I was a Bocha. No, Baruch Hashem. Okay, so Noisin Tam bar Noisin Tam. What does that mean? What does it mean, Noisin Tam bar Noisin Tam? It means basically secondary tastes. What does secondary taste mean? Give you an example. I take a pot and I cook meat in this pot. I then spit out the contents, clean it completely, cook rice in that pot. What din does that rice have? I would like to eat it with cheese. Am I allowed? Now, there's no meat in the rice in actual sense, but like you all said, absorbed in the walls is meat. So the meat tam goes into the rice. That's noisein tam, gives the taste. Bar noisein tam, because it goes the next stage. What's the next stage? From the rice into the cheese. That's the shaila. So it's a shaila in the Gemara in Chulin Daf Kuf Yud on base, whether or not this has a problem or not. The Maisa most Rishonim are Mekel, as I paskin Tosfos, the Ran, the Ritva, the Modcha, the Rambam, the Levush. Shulchan Aruch is Mekel lechatchila. You're allowed to eat it, but the Ramah says you should be machma like Shitas Rashi, which means, and again, I'll have to end with this because there's so much more to do. The Ramah's psak is, and this is according to Ashkenazim, right? This is according to Ashkenazi book. There is a Sephardi book. You'll have to buy the Sephardi book if you want to get the Sephardi psak. But we're going to give the Ashkenazi psak. Right? There are a few Sephardim that are coming next year to Yeshiva, so they asked me, what are we going to do? You're going to give halacha sheh? How am I going to do? I said, don't worry. If you have enough Sephardim in the room, we'll give Ashkenazi gazoi. Sephardim got that. Beautiful. Now, the question is, which Sephardim? Okay. Al Kaponim, the Ashkenazim hold like this. Listen very, very carefully. Nat bar nat lechatchila wimachme, which means, let's start A, ben yoimai. If the meaty pan was used in the last 24 hours for meat, and you cooked rice, pasta, potatoes, anything in that pan, lechatchila, don't mix it with cheese. If you did mix it with cheese, you're allowed to eat it. If it's an Eino ben yoimai fleishik pan, which means the pan has not been used for the last 24 hours for meat, so now I'm allowed lechatchila to mix it with cheese. But don't, says the Shach, cook the rice or the pasta or whatever in that pan, knowing you're going to mix it with cheese. Hear the difference? Is this clear? This is probably one of the most common shaylas your wife's going to ask in the kitchen when you get married. Be'ezus Hashem. This is such a common shayla, happens all the time. Okay, so that is nat bana, and that is the difference between ben yomei and ben yomei. Tomorrow, Be'ezus Hashem, we'll talk about dipping in spoons. We'll talk about onions, garlics, and all of these things. B'siyat Tishma, and then obviously we'll move on to some of the drabonas. Have a wonderful and beautiful day.